Because of Panama's proximity to the equator, its country is filled with rich biodiversity and rainforest animals. Panama is the only place in the world where you can see the sun rise on the Pacific Ocean and set on the Atlantic. The Panama Canal across the Isthmus of Panama may be one of the greatest engineering marvels of the last 1,000 years. In 1513, Vasco de Balboa's discovery of the Pacific coast of Panama soon had merchants and empire builders dreaming of a shortcut that would enable ships to sail westward from the Atlantic to the Pacific without making the grueling 13,000-mile journey around the tip of South America. Visionaries ranging from Hernan Cortez to Benjamin Franklin to Simon Bolivar advocated for the digging of a channel. The French Canal Commission recruited more than 50,000 laborers, mostly from nearby Caribbean islands, to work on the canal. In all, another 100,000 people immigrated to Panama during the construction era, adding to the diversity of Panama's population. Strangely, one of the biggest obstacles in building the canal was not so much the mountains, it was the little mosquitoes. There were plagues of people dying from malaria and yellow fever, and at that point, they weren't even sure what was causing it. Finally, William C. Gorges staged a successful campaign to eradicate the mosquitoes, and malaria was reduced by 85%. Several countries either quit or went bankrupt attempting to build the canal. But it was finally completed by the United States under Teddy Roosevelt between 1904 and 1914. At that time, it was the largest and most complex project of its kind ever undertaken. It cost billions of dollars and over 30,000 lives to create this connection between the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific. It's the Panama Canal. The canal consists of artificially created lakes, channels, and a series of locks or water-filled chambers that raise and lower ships 85 feet through the mountain terrain of central Panama. Because of the S shape of the Isthmus of Panama, a ship sailing through the canal from the Atlantic to the Pacific actually travels from west to east in order to go from east to west. The 50-mile canal handles a large volume of the world's shipping and enables vessels to travel between the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean and avoid traveling around South America, reducing their voyages by 13,000 miles and many days and dollars. The unsung heroes of the Panama Canal are the little tugboats that push the container ships back and forth. They look little, but that's because they're next to these enormous container ships. They're actually bigger than you think when you get on board. They're built in Spain, and one of them costs $10 million because they're built with these dynamos, these engines that produce 6,000 horsepower to keep things moving on the Panama Canal. Most people don't know that many of the battleships and destroyers in the world today were deliberately underbuilt so they could still squeeze through the small 80-year-old locks. About 1,000 ships a month pass through the Panama Canal, and it's not cheap. They pay somewhere between $100,000 and this one's probably paying as much as $700,000. A ship not too long ago paid $1.2 million just to carry its cargo through here. And they may carry as much as 40 million tons of cargo. This here is one of the new super tankers. It's heading for Costco. It's using the new port that they built that's over 1,200 feet long. You know, it really is a wonder of engineering. It is a colossal project when you consider the magnitude of what they did in building the Panama Canal. That they were able to connect two oceans that had been separated. And though the country of Panama is now divided by the canal, the world is united. You know, Jesus allowed himself to die that the world could be united with heaven. The Bible tells us in the story of Genesis, chapter 24, where Jacob is running from his brother, and at night he had nothing but a stone for a pillow. He went to sleep. He was destitute. He felt forsaken by God. And he had a dream, a vision of a ladder that reached from earth to heaven. And on the ladder, angels of God were ascending and descending, something like a heavenly escalator. Now you might wonder, what did that vision mean? Jesus explains in the Gospel of John chapter 1 verse 51, he tells Nathanael, "Hereafter you will see the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." You see, friends, Jesus is the conduit. He's the mediator. He is the canal, you might say, that connects heaven and earth. Through the sacrifice of Christ and through His blood, when we follow His teachings, it creates a passage. The cross becomes a ladder that connects heaven and earth. But we need to each make a decision that we want to follow Christ, that we're willing to make that journey and to come to heaven with Him. He's coming soon, friends. I hope you want to go on that trip and you'll be ready.